And so were you in a band from all the...
Yeah, well, in 96 and 97, I was in some pretty bad metal bands.
Yeah, give us some of the names, man. I need...
Oh, bro. Actually, there's one I dare not repeat, mate. There was one that was pretty...
We can be
pretty questionable. I'll tell you, is we were called...
That's hard.
So, yeah, please beat that.
Yeah.
Do you know the best thing is, though, we did a gig with someone and they're like, oh, what's your band's name? And I told them, she goes, Tornado Flesh, that's great. And I was like, yeah,
I'm just not even going to correct.
I'm not going to... No, it's not a discussion I wanted to...
Alright, we're recording? We're live.
We're live.
Wait, hold on. Wait, keep all this in, it's cool. That's all.
Cactus Jack mask. Boy, it's Steezy today.
Yeah, stay away from me, Mr. COVID.
Yeah, we're all about, health and safety regulations.
That's definitely why I'm doing it. I'm definitely doing it because of COVID.
Sure.
That's 100% why I'm doing it, because of COVID. Look, I fell over. I cracked my front tooth. Actually, Liam punched me in the mouth and knocked out my front tooth. And there you go, that's better. Yeah, Liam punched me in the mouth, knocked out my front tooth. And now, until I get it fixed, I'm doing podcasts with a mask.
That's muffled, but that's really muffled.
It's alright. Bit of a noise gang. Let's go. Yeah, fucking hell, what's new, gang?
What's up, boys?
Yeah,
I missed you, man.
I missed y'all for a week. Didn't record last week.
Yeah, Easter.
Yeah, how was everybody?
Yeah, it was good.
Did everyone get up to?
Just kicked back, bro. I did nothing. Chilled at home.
What did you get up to?
Just remembering our Lord and Savior, bro.
Man, 100%. Man, fuck. So, man, I'm just trying to think what's happened since we can touch on, bro. Like,
Joe and I got robbed. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, for real? All right, everyone's getting robbed lately. 6'9",
six. That was.
Oh, yeah.
6'9".
Currently.
No, real talk. I'm gonna. Yeah. No, but real talk. I saw that he fucking. He had his rollie stolen from him. He had his fucking
RDA watches.
Bro, Chillin' seems like such a nice guy too, bro.
Yeah.
She's got eyes on him, you know?
Yeah, man, for real. But yeah, bro, that's fucking
shit.
Like
to go.
being a rapper is one of the most dangerous.
Bro, that's so true now.
Yeah, man.
For real.
Scary.
Like, yeah, especially in America, man. There's rappers I haven't even heard of, and I just see they're like died.
They didn't go, man.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's not as bad out here, but yeah,
it's really.
Being a rapper is a crazy profession these days,
bro. Yeah, it's because there's so much fucking phones and it's always filming and shit's just everyone's always an ulterior motive behind everything. You know what I mean, man?
Social media ramps shit up.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad to see. But what else is going on, bro? Random shit, man. Yeah, I think it's time that we bring our fucking guest on, man, because we got a special one today. And I want to have as much time to conversate with this dude as we can, man, because there's so much that we can get out of him, so much we can learn today, bro. This guy has been here for a long time. I do our intro that we do for every guest. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. Had this, Brendan. All right. That's the wrong note. I almost introduced you as Ray Palber. Let's do this. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest today is one of Australia's most profound and talented touring DJs and sound engineers. Entering the hip-hop scene back in 2006, he has a tidal wave of shows under his belt with the likes of Ice Cube, Obi Trice, Method Man, Tech Nine, Exhibit, Mad Child, Wombat, Bush and Hesso. I could keep going. He's a pioneer in the scene and a mentor and rap dad to plenty. He also holds the award for the 2021 Best Gooch Reveal. True story. Here to tell us about that and more, it's DENNO. Yo! Let's go.
Welcome to the podcast, bro.
Welcome to the culture.
Thank you.
Donnie, I like how you started that when the guests come in. Welcome to the culture, my bro.
Welcome to the culture.
DENNO, man, how are you, brother?
I'm good.
Nice, bro. Thank you so much for coming. It's an honor to have you on, Dan.
Thanks for having me. And congrats on the podcast, too.
Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. It definitely felt right to have you on, bro, because from the start of all these boys know, I've been ranting about it since we knew we were going to have you on. But from the start of, like, when I first started as an artist, you and Third, bro, were my intro into the scene. You know what I mean? Very much so. My first proper recordings were with you. my first proper show with the scene, the Fires for Bush release show,
No, that's right.
you know, and stuff, bro. Like, it's craziness still. It felt right that we brought you into this side of the journey as well, and really got deep and personal with you, man. Because I know that you've done so much, bro, but there's not a lot of clips of you talking about how much you've done. You know what I mean? Anyone who gets the honor of stepping foot in your studio and working with you gets to hear the sick stories of the shit that you have done and stuff, bro. But man, there's so much stories I don't know people will be able to know and learn from. You know what I mean? Yeah,
There's a lot.
100%, bro, 100%. So I wanna start it all the way from the beginning, if that's cool with you.
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
So where did you grow up, bro?
I actually grew up, oddly enough, on a flower farm up in Queensland, mate. Growing carnations.
Yo, I actually used to live on a flower farm as well, out in South Australia.
Yeah.
To grow.
We used to grow carnations. Yeah, same type of thing, man.
I thought it was fucking special.
Did you have those big plastic tents? Yeah. Nah, that's funny as.
We met before. What the fuck?
I worked on the same farm together and shit, bro. 100%. Yeah. So and that was up in Queensland, did you say?
Yeah, up just kind of near the Big Pineapple.
And how old were you? How old were you back then?
I was up there until I was like 9 or so.
Oh wow, so young. And was that with family, bro? Or
Yeah. So up there with my parents. So I was actually adopted at birth. And
okay.
was collected, picked up, whatever the word is, adopted.
Dropped my
Yeah, the stork dropped me at someone else's house, and it just happened to be that one where they're growing flowers and shit. So,
Yep.
and I had this massive change in lifestyle from, we sort of moved from there down to, lived on the corner of Chapel and Toorak for like about 6 months when I was sort of first moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then, spent time out in the eastern suburbs from there. And
What brought you guys out to Melbourne from?
that's work. Yeah, that's work.
Yep.
He was in agriculture, and he actually started looking after the hops and barley for Carlton United Breweries.
Right. So
Yeah, came down here for that, and yeah.
cool. And what was the family life like, man? Growing up and stuff.
Oh, look, it was my parents were pretty harsh taskmasters, I guess. But it pushed me in the right direction. I copped a few of my time, but I probably deserved every one.
And these are your adoptive parents,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Did you want to go into that a little bit, man? Did you have you met your biological family?
Yeah. It's funny you say that, bro, because it took me 40 years. It actually took me till the birth of my first son to think, fuck, I really need to figure out what's going on in my bloodline and shit like that. And met my birth parents, biological parents, probably 3 years ago.
Oh wow, so very
4
recent.
years ago. Wow. Yeah. So my son's 5 now, so it was just after he was born. So 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. And how was that for you, man? Because I'm sure, like, obviously you've lived a whole life, and then you go and meet your.
Well, it was really weird, dude, because I kind of put it out on one of them. Like, I was born in a really small town in Gayndah in sort of central Queensland, and it's not a really big joint. So I put a post up on like a community page in Gayndah and just sort of said, listen, respectfully, this is where I'm from. I don't want to intrude on anyone, but just in case anyone knows of anything, can you let us know?
Yep.
Thinking I'll just throw the bait out there.
See what happens. See if
A couple of months later, I might get some info, but the next morning I had my fucking biological father was in my inbox going,
Wow.
I think I'm your dad.
Wow.
I'm like,
Man, that's crazy.
And the weird thing was, I'm like, do I need to get like a DNA test? He goes, bro, there's like 2,000 people in this town. Like, there's 3 kids born a year.
Yeah.
So that date, that was you.
Wow.
So did you already know him? Like, because he's such a small community.
No, so when I was born, they basically, bro, the 70s was hectic. Like, my birth mother never even laid eyes on me, picked me up, chucked me in the back of an ambulance and drove me to an unknown location. So they couldn't follow me or nothing like that.
Wow.
And I was dropped off in a place called Bundaberg in Queensland, lived there in the hospital for a bit.
Yep.
So they dropped me off there, and it's funny, like, having spoken to my biological dad now, he reckons every time he went to Bundaberg, he's like looking at people my age going, could that be him, that bloke looks together like me? And by that time I was, 100 k's from there, and
Of course. Yeah.
future down to Melbourne. So
I don't know how deep you actually want to go into it, but did you ever speak to him on if he ever did the same thing you did, went looking for him? Did you know if he ever?
actually, oddly enough, man, I had a legal bar against them trying to find me.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't want to deal with that. It wasn't going to be on my terms or not at all.
Of course. Yeah.
Turns out he'd actually looked for me long and hard,
Legally, you could.
but legally, couldn't find me.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my birth parents weren't together. They were 16 when I was born. So,
Yeah.
yeah, one thing led to another. He managed to get in contact with her. She was like real sketchy on even speaking, just scared. Hadn't told a single person.
Oh wow.
Like her own kids didn't even know that she'd had a child.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Whereas he'd told everyone it was like completely the opposite way of going about things. And yeah, long story short, they've now met together after 40 years and they're now back together.
After 40 years.
After 40 years. Yeah, which is weird. It's actually a bit weird, man, because I feel like I've created a bit of tension in their family units as well, because I kind of popped my head up out of nowhere. I've got like 5 or 6 half brothers and sisters, sort of met one of them. And I feel like the others kind of think I'm a bit of a homewrecker or some shit, so...
I feel like you have every right to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Especially the reasoning, like you waited so long and then the reason you had to actually go and do it after so long is like more than fair enough.
absolutely, bro.
Yeah. Especially after just having like your own son, which would be the only biological blood that you'd ever met.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that
Bigger than yourself, sort of.
Yeah.
huge, bro, huge. Wow, that's massive.
And it makes me think, like, had I not done that, would I have ever pursued this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I would be grave with a lot of questions if I didn't, so I'm kind of happy that I did. But
That's interesting. That's a good transition to take it to, man. So you said that after you were up in Queensland, you'd come down and were living in what area did you say?
that was it. I actually ended up out east, Box Hill direction,
And how long were you out there for?
all throughout the late part of primary school and secondary school.
Six. So when did that passion for music come to play? When you actually realized this is something that you want to pursue? And did it start with, was it always hip hop as well, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, funnily enough, man, I actually was not into music at all as a kid, like not into playing music, listened to heaps of it. Finished school, was an athlete all through school, and then just realised how much training sucked. And it was sort of, all my mates were in bands, and I'd go and hang out with them, and like training for a band or rehearsing with a band was so much more fun than I'd ever had.
Yeah.
Training for sport, so I'm like, fuck this. And last day of year 12, I bought a guitar, and
Fucking oath. The rest was history.
yeah, that was 1995, sometime in November.
And so were you in a band from all?
Yeah, well, in 96 and 97, I was in some pretty bad metal bands.
Yeah, give us some of the names, man. I need.
Oh, bro. Actually,
No.
there's one I dare not repeat, mate. There was one that was
We can be the.
pretty questionable. I'll tell you, is we were called Torn Anal Flesh.
That's hard.
So, yeah, please beat that.
Yeah.
Do you know the best thing is, though, we did a gig with someone and they're like, oh, what's your band's name? And I told them, she goes, Tornado Flesh, that's great. And I was like, yeah,
I'm just not even going to correct.
I'm not going to, it's not a discussion I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
Imagine seeing that on a flyer.
Oh, metal was about that, mate. It's like, the more grotesque you can be in metal,
It's really how it was. It's really how it was back then, wasn't it? Like,
I listen to like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, mate. It's hectic.
yeah.
Like it's some hectic stuff.
It's and half the time, man. I'll be honest. I can't even read half the band names anyway.
I think that's why it's like it's so bloody disgusting. It's like
For real, literally. And did any of those bands or anything do anything big, man? Did you go anywhere with that or?
Look, we had a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. It was just kind of like, punk rock, metal sort of crossover stuff, and end up doing like a bit of acoustic sort of comedy stuff on the side.
Yeah.
Just to dress up as Mexicans,
Sick. Cool.
sing about tacos and shit. And in hindsight, I don't reckon that'd float.
Shit, that would not hold these.
Oh my God, I sort of got to my 30s like, was I racist? Is that okay?
We're cancelled overnight. Yeah, 100%, man.
But back in those days, man, no one gave a shit. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's hilarious. You're Mexican.
Now, yeah, that's like another thing that falls under the social media shit as well. Is if once you give it to a wider audience, the wider audience then gets a wider opinion as well.
I had this exact discussion with someone last night in the studio about a questionable lyric they had. I'm like, do we need to disarm this now, like by virtue of what we're recording, or are we just going to put it out there and let it grow?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different world these days, man.
Yeah, it is, man. It is, and it's important to move accordingly as well because I guess it's people's feelings are just taken into account a lot more than they were as well, which sometimes in a lot of cases is taken to a lot of extremes, I guess. But yeah, as you said, different time, much different time, man. But yeah, so you were in the metal bands for you said six.
Look, 5 or 6 years I was messing around playing guitar in various things, and always was listening to hip hop the whole way through it.
Yeah, so that's actually leads me to my next question. Was it always what's it called? Was it always hip hop growing up on the music you were growing up on at home?
Yeah, it was all metal and hip hop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was always bound to be one of the two
Yeah.
that you were going to get.
Had been in the 90s, like it was a pretty good era for both.
Yeah.
So there was some
100%.
amazing metal bands coming out in the 90s.
That's actually extremely interesting too. Like having both those genres together, like both genres, very big time for them as well, obviously.
Yep.
And being indulged in both of them, it's kind of very interesting, man. So when did that turn into the hip hop side of things?
Bro, I'll never forget it. I told my mates I was going to buy some turntables because we actually, in one of our bands, we had was in a Mexican band, we had DJ Burrito was with us, and he had some turntables. He wasn't ever really a DJ. Yeah, cancel him now. He had some turntables, we were just messing around with them and stuff. And at the time I was at uni and we had some turntables set up at uni too, so I kind of messed around with them and thought, hey, this is kind of fun. And told me mates, I'm going to go out and buy some turntables. And a few of them are just like, dude, don't do that, man. Like, you're going to regret it. Next week, you're going to play with them for a week and a half and you'll never touch them again. And,
Yep.
Here we are, nearly 20 years later.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy.
Still doing my thing.
It's funny too because, and this is a little bit off topic. I will go back, but I remember my first ever session with you, man. One of the I'm pretty sure it was a track called Revive I recorded with you. It was the first ever. I'd been in like small dingy studios before and stuff, but never with a engineer who knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And we finished recording the track and stuff as you usually do in a normal studio process. But then you jumped on the decks and you started adding scratches into it. That was the first time I was ever introduced to that kind of stuff as well. You know what I mean? So when you had all these people around you back then telling you like, no, that's not the move. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna be bored of it a week later. Once you sort of, kind of where I'm going with that. Once you actually went and did it, what was the feeling like, man? Did you know then, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 years when you open those decks and you started?
Yeah, I guess first point is I don't. There's no ill feelings towards those people who said that. They wanted me to protect my investment. Fucking thanks. I appreciate someone actually drawing my attention to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I just kind of got straight into it and started trying to network with different rappers and sort of met a couple of dudes back like early 2006 or something like that. And that was Drakezilla and Fritz, which ended up being Home Brand, which we did a bunch of shit with. So
Home Brand, what was that?
It was just a 3-man crew.
Oh.
So the three of us, once I actually had some MCs on board, and for me that was where I wanted to be. I never wanted to be that dude at clubs spinning like tracks and shit.
Yeah.
I always just wanted to work with rappers because I grew up like Cypress Hill, shit like that, where it's like it's a crew, and it was like
the DJ in the middle.
it was like it's a crew, and it's like that dude is a part of that crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like these days it doesn't quite operate like that anymore. Like a lot of people running gigs without DJs and stuff. And
Who were your biggest influence growing up? Like, you said Cypress Hill and everything.
oh mate,
Listen to you, like,
Cypress, De La Soul was probably one of the ones that got me hugely into it. Slug from Atmosphere, House of Pain. I got all these tattooed on my arm somewhere.
Yeah.
Naughty by Nature, Tretch,
I know Wu-Tang's a big one for you.
Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
Like basically, Wu-Tang for me just epitomises what 90s hip hop was.
Yep.
I wouldn't call him my favourite artist of the 90s, but it's such a diverse group.
Yeah, massive. Yeah.
But people like Method Man have been hugely influential in that side of things for the rap side of things, but I guess in a production sense, dudes like DJ Crush and DJ Shadow and people like that have been massive. But you know, these days a lot of my worlds have crossed over. I'm sort of making rock influenced hip hop and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that, like, because it seems like hip hop and metal is like your two like big genres. Have you ever worked with like an artist that's making that kind of amalgamation with the
Yeah.
genre?
Yeah, look, we actually just released an album with Luke Vex, doing
Yeah, shout out Vexy. Yeah.
Shout out Luke.
Yep.
One of my longtime mates and closest collaborators. So he did a full album with him. I'd kind of been hanging on to these beats for years and not really finding the right people to do it with. And Vex popped up and a few collabs with like Jack Vall on that release as well. And yeah, got to that situation. It's actually really interesting how many scratch DJs are one-time metalheads.
Yeah.
Relic, one of Australia's best scratch DJs.
Yeah.
Metalhead as well. Liquid, Metalhead. I don't know what it is with, that.
music.
Yeah, it almost crosses over so well. You know what it is?
I think there is that crossover. You get the fans that kind of like those two genres.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the extremities of music. Like, there's no fluffing about. If
Exactly.
you're metal and you listen to hip hop, like, there's some real shit going on.
It's hard.
Yeah, you've got some stuff going on at home for sure, brother.
Going on. Yeah.
For sure. Bro, I want to talk on that album with Vexy more, that club album, because bro, that was sick. By the way,
Thank you.
on camera rating, 10 out of 10. My favorite joint off that album is Ego Trip.
Yeah, dope.
That
Yeah.
hook is sick. I love that hook, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, man. How did that come to fruition? Because I know you were working on that for years, bro. Like a good. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're two, three, maybe.
Yeah, probably about 3 years.
Yeah, I was witnessing you work through that and what.
There's beats on that are 10 years old though. So
Wow. Yeah.
just stuff that I'd sort of worked on. Look, me and Vex worked together back in the day. Like, he was on the Home Brand mixtapes
Okay, yeah.
in 2007, and he was actually on Buck City releases, another artist I worked a lot with.
Well, I want to get into Buck as well.
So yeah, we had like, Vex was just one of those dudes that kept popping up on every release that we were doing. It was a feature, and
Yeah.
the dude's still hanging around. He's still doing his thing, and
The shout out Vex, bro. Such a great dude. Such a great artist as
a
well.
lovely dude. And yeah, really like super talented. Got a really good control of his voice.
It's really apparent that he grew up on that that punk type of
Yeah.
album, man. You just the different cadences and shit that he puts into.
Yeah, he just slips into natural melodies and stuff like that.
Man, and I mean, I'll just say now, me and Vex have a punk rock joint coming together, and when he sent the vocals through that, and I listened to that, even the cadences, it was a modern punk rock sort of beat, and even that he was putting the old school punk rock cadences on it, and I would just message him, send him huge props for it anyway. But it's just
Great track, man.
yeah, you're just not seeing that sound that much more anymore. You know what I mean? So it's cool that people are still like sticking true to it and not trying to. You're seeing it still, but it's being morphed with the pop as well and the Machine Gun Kelly side of things, which I'm all for. You know what I mean? But it's just there's something about still having those cadences and those certain harmonies and stuff that you just.
I guess this is, for me, this is the beauty of hip hop, man. I think this is why I ended up doing what I do, is because I never understood anyone that goes, I don't like hip hop, because it's taking elements out of just about every other genre and putting it over a beat.
Yeah.
So I don't understand anyone who doesn't like hip hop, as far as I'm concerned, just hasn't had the right hip hop for them.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And for me to be able to put heavy guitars over a beat, or to put some jazz shit over a beat, or whatever the fuck it is, the more obscure these days, the better. Like, you get these all Oriental instruments and stuff like that, and they're making bangers with them, man. And
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like the amount of
like the amount of like diversity in hip hop these days as well. Like, you can't really say, oh, I don't like hip hop. That's a little bit. It's a little bit strange to just say, to just like completely brush it all with one brush.
Yeah.
Because you've got like
so much more than one brush.
yeah, you've got like hip hop which has like guitars and it's like almost like Zilla Kami, like that kind of punk energy.
Yeah.
Also got other more melodic stuff. Like, there's so much different types now. Like, it all depends on what you're into.
But I think you hit the nail on the head with like, everything being tarnished with one brush. There is the stigma behind hip hop, and there is, that hip hop is a violent art form and degrading towards women, and et cetera, et cetera. And I'm not going to say that there haven't been elements of hip hop that are that. But I think that has closed a lot of doors to potential listeners.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, most definitely. But I think that was a lot in the, I don't want to say
NWA days back.
Yeah, I was going to say olden times days, but it's really not. That's really not. But
Back in the 90s.
but no, yeah, back in like the NWA days and the D12 days and whatnot, like Bizarre, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so like, and shouts out to Bizarre. You know what I mean? But certain artists like that,
They're ruthless, bro.
and as you said, close the doors for certain listeners. You know what I mean? Because then they, as Donnie said, straight keep up with that same paintbrush, and because they think it's all like that. But shit, bro, there's literally gospel rap, man. Like there's something for everyone in the genre, But
Groups like the Two Live Crew and the Ghetto Boys and stuff like that were doing some like hectic shit, like really confronting stuff. And I remember like being young and listening to that for the first time in NWA, and just being kind of like, whoa,
yeah,
it's actually a thing.
Yeah,
it's taken me to this point in my life where I kind of reflect on that shit, and I go, why does hip hop get demonized for that when Stephen King can go out and write a bunch of books about some gory shit?
Yeah,
and he is revered as being one of the best authors ever.
That's a very
and there's, I don't know how many films out there that are just fucking disgusting as well, and they're winning awards and stuff like that. But there's some sort of notion that if you do it in hip hop, that's got to be you. You must do that.
Yeah.
If you rap about
if
that.
you're writing that yourself, then these people wrote the scripts for those movies. These people wrote those books. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's the
going
difference here?
You know what I mean? Stephen King going out with 2 twin girls in hotels and murdering them, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's 100% what you're saying.
it's like it's like the, you know what? I just lost my train of thought, bro. It's
I'll pick it up for you, man, because I feel like, you know, there's this element in hip hop about keeping it real and, you know, being true to yourself and shit like that. And I like that is hugely valuable, and I think it's hugely valuable to someone's well-being, the ability to express, etc., etc. But I don't think that precludes people from being able to adopt a role as a rapper, like Eminem does.
Yeah,
You know, and like the Ghetto Boys did,
it's
like Ice Cube does.
it's like playing a character, you know what I mean? And you were mentioning all these other art forms, you know, like Stephen King, stuff like that. Like these are all art forms that people accept. Okay, they're artists. We're gonna give them the leeway to, you know, we understand that they're expressing some ideas. But then they look at hip hop and they don't want to call them artists. You know what I mean? They don't want to view that as the same thing. It's exactly the same thing, man. They're telling that story.
Or because you put a little bit of cuss words in it, or this, that. It's where, well, you know, like these rappers are not artists. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be a
Point as well, though, like, because yeah, you know, you're gonna be like somewhat of an actor for, you know, you want to say all that stuff, but you don't want to say, like, you can be a storyteller and say certain things and like get a message out there, but at the same time, like all these like fake drillers at the moment, you know, I'll do this, I'll do that. You're not gonna do that, bro. Shut up. You know, like,
Absolutely.
like there's like people like, you know, like Kendrick Lamar, for instance. He's one of the best storyteller rappers, you know, but I'm sure a lot of the stuff he goes through is all real and everything, but there might be stuff that's tweaked and stuff for the audience to get you in, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the difference between the two.
I mean, not all of it, because there's a lot of people out there that are doing what they're rapping about, man, but not a lot. There are a few real ones. I'll take that back. But I forgot my fucking train of thought because of all the whispering going on. What was the?
Like Kendrick being like,
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, because there's a certain aspect of it that when money becomes involved and stuff, where it becomes entertainment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And what
for sure.
to sell. So there's a certain extent to it with a lot of rappers and a lot of artists where it's like Stephen King movies and stuff. It becomes dramatized. Do you know what I mean? And certain things get taken out of get blown out of proportion to make the song sound better, or to make the storytelling a little bit more interesting. Do you know what I mean?
or you're investing in a ghostwriter to write your words for you. Like,
Shout out Drake. I'm just gonna throw that shot. But
well, you look at Ice Cube writing stuff for Easy E and stuff like that.
yeah, 100%, and then sitting there doing it line by line.
Well, the irony was that Easy was a little gangster,
Yeah. Well,
and we had that's someone else writing his
that's the thing.
stories for him. Like,
But then it's a big difference between that and bringing someone in who is that gangster and writing about that gangster shit for you, because you can't write about it because you don't know what it is. Do you know what I mean?
but like I guess in country music, is anyone like that dude his wife didn't leave him, and his dog's still alive, and his truck actually runs really good and it gets good gas, like mileage to the gallon.
His story is not as sad as they can.
Like, actually a really happy dude underneath all this. Why don't we question, hip hop just seems to be out there to be scrutinized by people for someone to point the finger at because they want to fucking keep demonizing.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think they want to keep demonizing it? Like, still to this day, but like, man, like, how long has the culture really been like mainstream? A long time now, right?
Bro, okay, let's look at the other elements of hip hop. Let's look at graffiti. Like, for a long time, it wasn't considered art.
Yep.
Melbourne's now in a situation where we're like, come to Melbourne and look at our vibrant street culture and go down and fucking Hosey Lane and get a photo. So we're going to lock you boys up for fucking drawing on the walls.
Yeah.
Like,
Still gonna lock them up if we catch it.
like it's kind of the same thing with hip hop. Like, people will acknowledge, I'm sure there's some artistic merit in there somewhere, but I'm not going to accept it as being on the same level as fucking classical music or
So
the
true.
Beatles or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, well, fuck that.
Well,
Like-
it's like when even did, like, speaking on that, like it being accepted on the same artistry level as the Beatles and stuff. Because I'm too young to remember, bro. Do you recall when?
I don't remember the Beatles, mate.
No. I'm not going to say the Beatles. I'm not going to say the Beatles. But do you remember when hip hop actually like became genres in the Grammys? Like, hip hop awards became a genre in the Grammys, like best hip.
I remember kids in year 8 being like, yo, you got to listen to this tape.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
giving you like some NWA shit. And you'd be like, don't let your mum hear it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that and taking it home and just being like fucking blown away. Like, you'd go to your bedroom and like, you get your little Walkman out.
Bedroom, bro. Yeah.
You get your little Walkman out or some shit like that. It's probably worth $1 million these days.
Yeah.
And yeah, you put your headphones on with a big fucking metal band over the top and you'd be like, listen to this shit. Like, fuck, did he just say that? So I remember it coming out as a kid observing a subculture grow.
Yeah.
but I was still a kid. Like, I was still 13, 12 years old, or whatever it was.
I like when I went to a stage, bro, where I just did so much research on like old school hip hop and stuff. And when it first was sort of becoming mainstream, there was no sort of, I could get really scrutinized here if I'm wrong, but there was no sort of what's it called? There was no Grammy awards for like hip hop genres. Do you know what I mean? It was all the BET awards and whatnot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's even a thing to say. It's like, you know, I'll accept it's some kind of art, but I'm not going to say it's on the same artistry as the Beatles. You know what I mean? It's like, it's cool to see it is somewhat, it's progressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's even at the same time, it's like, do you think there'll ever be a point where it's just accepted like every other genre is? Like, okay, maybe everyone's not a fan of pop, but it's not scrutinized and people aren't in the streets protesting about it. Do you know what
I think when the people looking over their glasses at any form of art of our generation, I say our generation loosely, but when they're of a generation that's grown up with that being normal, then I think we'll get over it.
Yeah.
While there are people holding the keys to what gets played on radio and things like that, and people deciding what art has value and what art doesn't have value. I guess we're fighting against that. But that's also like that's what hip hop is. You know, it is that, you know, the fight against the struggle and the blah 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 blah. And you know, again, I say this having said we don't have to tell our own stories; we can tell other stories. But hip hop was born out of that.
Yeah.
Hip hop was supposed to be, you know, the word of the streets and shit like that. And
100. That's even what the, you know, you say when you get handed a tape by your friend at school. It's NWA. You know what I mean? You put on your headphones in your room, you listen to it. It's like do you know what I mean? It's their story. It's like you're at the time you kind of think, oh, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah.
But to them, it's like it's normal because that's just what it was. They're just telling you what, you know what I mean. So I think that's a massive shock to people too, because it's kind of like when you're kind of confined to that, especially a country as safe as Australia compared to America, you know, with the gun laws and everything, when you're confined to that and then you hear that so raw, you're like, holy shit, you know what I mean, bro? So that's even that's even something that not a lot of genres are doing for other people either, man, because you can't say everything you'd want to say in a pop record, you know what I mean? Imagine I went on an Ariana Grande type beat and talk about rolling up on the ops, bro. Like, it's just not gonna work. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna work at all. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, man. But I want to go into, we touched on him before, bro. I've heard a lot of sick stories about you and Buck, man. You've showed me a lot of cool tapes and stuff, bro. I really want to touch on that for the audience and the listeners, and obviously for Don and Liam as well, just because it's such the shit that you guys did together, man. Like,
yeah, he was an amazing artist and a great bloke. You know, I will always speak very respectfully of Buck, and his name was Buck City. I'll sort of set the scene first and explain a couple of things.
Sure. Right into it, man.
Yeah, worked with him around the 2007, 2008 mark, same time I was working with Home Brand. And it's got a random mate goes, I know this bloke who's a rapper and he needs a DJ. I'm like, oh yeah, cool, let's have a chat. And I get this call from this bloke, and it turns out he's an African-American dude who's out in Australia. He lived in Australia, and he was fucking amazing. Like, the most talented dude that I've worked with. He had the sound, he had everything, he just looked the part. Everything about him was hugely marketable. And, you know, we started doing things. In the first show I did with him, we won the Nokia Be Heard competition, which was just like a Nokia running a competition. They gave you like one of the first camera phones, like you can take video on that.
It was Nokia, would have been the Apple phone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it was huge. And they're like, oh, you can document all you process with this camera phone. And I was like, what a camera phone?
Yeah.
All right, there's a camera phone, take it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, we with him, we went on and we did a few tours, and we won Best Urban Artist at the Music Oz Awards a couple of years. I think we started on what urban fucking means, but
yeah,
we won it. And you know, it was a wild ride and a wild time. And that was really when I got my teeth into like the touring side of things. And he's the one we did the Ice Cube shows with. You know, there are a lot of stories I could tell about Bucka. Now, number of them that you've heard. I guess he doesn't rap anymore, and he's moved on to a life that I'm sure he's finding more fulfilling and better for him. We all know things can get pretty loose in hip hop, and occasionally people will make the decision to step away for their own well-being and to look for a future that maybe has a bit more positivity in it.
Sure.
And he did that. So I won't go too deep into the stories because if he's
Just
out
give,
there,
give us your funny. If you don't want to speak on his situations too much, just give us your funniest one. I know there's one. I'll cut this out if we can't speak it. But I know there was one where the story you told me about you broke into someone's dressing room. Was still in.
oh, we'd break into anyone's dressing room. Didn't matter who. That's not even that. Mate, that still happens today. Like that's not even a vaccine story. That's just a DENNO story.
It was like it was outlaws or
Oh yeah, no, yeah, this is fine. We just took all the outlaws Alizé and just walked around the club, just giving. He had Alizé in every pocket, like 8 bottles of Alizé. We were like guests of the record label with at that time, got us on the door for all these sorts of gigs. So like when stole Lloyd Banks's alcohol, stole the outlaws alcohol, done all sorts of shit like that. Yeah, that was all just fun and game.
Yeah.
We'd end up with a couple of shows. We did have like this violinist touring with us, and we'd just get him drunk and then get him to go and steal it for us. So we kind of like it. It was just like, raising the young'uns to know what happens backstage and just go to find the biggest artist room and just take something from it.
Yeah.
Come back a man.
Come back, man.
Especially if you've got a violin case, like that's just too easy, bro. I've got to go in with pockets everywhere. You're a violinist. And no one's thinking the violinist is stealing shit.
Bro, he definitely had something to prove, I reckon.
He was like, it's my time to shine. I'm here now, and he's come out with like 7 or 8. And mate, getting like extra beers backstage, that's a fucking skill.
Yeah.
That is a skill. Like, you just got to find the right dude and be like, oh, there's got to be something wrong here, man. There's only 10 beers.
And because if you get there too late too, they're all gone. There's nothing left.
Because I got them all. Like, that's, I know how this works, mate.
Yeah, 100%. But I remember like, I've been to like 10 gigs in a row where you get there too late and all the good shit's gone and you have the craft beer left in the fucking in the fridge, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, so what's happening these days with the touring, bro? I know you're still touring and stuff.
Yeah, look, I've sort of eased up a little on local shows. I feel like 10 years it was just like every week doing a local show somewhere, and I end up being that dude that's I couldn't tell you how many rappers I've DJ'd for, man. It would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, just because you'll DJ in the night, you'll DJ for this dude, and you'll DJ for that dude. And so there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of rappers any time. These days I'm working a lot with YG Marta.
Yeah.
Upcoming dude, super talented. Young fella, it's new school shit, but he's just embraced scratching.
Let's touch on that, bro. How did that come to fruition? Because I remember you showing me Marta, bro, like before he had any exposure. Like when one of his first videos when he was in that garden and he's got the weird colouring.
Oh yeah.
When he started doing that social media marketing and shit stuff, bro. So how did that, bro? Because he went overnight, man. That was
blew up.
Yeah.
He blew up through that track Night Ticks that went
on
TikTok or whatever it was.
Like Ticks on for that one.
Yeah. So I used to people will remember dope rappers on Facebook as being one of the worst internet.
Toxic as fuck. I'm still in it, bro.
I still have admin rights.
Yeah.
So blame me for all that shit. But it was a really good place for me to network and meet young artists who were developing, and people like Johnny P, who's gone on to bigger and better things as well, and Young Marta and people like that. So it was like a little. I wasn't actively scouting for people, but I'd hear dudes and be like, "Fuck, that's really good, man!" Like, let us mix a track or two and let's see what we can do with it. And he was one of those dudes, and mixed a couple of his tracks and kept in contact with him. And then he did the whole Night Ticks thing and blew up. And he hit me up one day, he goes, I'm doing a show in Melbourne, like, you want to come through? I'm like, yeah, I'll come through. And just sort of said, who's DJing for you? And he'd forgot I was even a DJ. He just knew me as a producer. So he's like, oh, fuck, you want to DJ? I'm like, yeah, no worries.
Hell yeah.
So we got up at this show at Rubik's, and it was fucking funny, man. I got up on stage and I just scratched my ass off doing my usual thing, and got off stage. I had all these like 20-year-old kids coming up and going, what are you doing up there, man? Like, what do you mean?
Because it's so,
it's come full circle. Like, you just don't know what turntables is.
Yeah. Well,
what were you doing?
As I said to you, man, my first session with you was the first time I ever said, and I'm like Marta's age and those 20-year-olds age, you know what I mean? So, and the session with you was the first time I saw turntables in use and stuff, you know what I mean?
To me, that was just bizarre because I keep forgetting how old I am. So it's like, it had come full circle, and dudes, it's like I invented this shit.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, bro, I'm nothing. There's dudes out here that are fucking 10 times better than me. I'm the dude who works with rappers and I'm really good at doing that bit. Like if you want to get your mind blown, go and watch some of these DMC champions and shit like that.
Yeah. But with that being said, bro, I've seen you behind the decks, man. You know, I'm very humble.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like that's just from there. Marta is actually like hugely into it. He's like, "Fuck those scratches were dope, man. Let's keep doing this." So yeah, we just got off the Falls tour earlier this year, and did every leg of the Falls tour, which was fucking great.
Yeah, I say the footage looks sick, bro.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
Performer as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's a great performer. We kind of had Carter with us.
Yep. Shout out to him.
Yeah, seen you in one of his film clips.
Yeah. He played. We put on a show. Was it last year? Last year we put on a show, and Carter came and played with us as well.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, he's at City Tables. Yeah. Carter's sick. Yeah, I love Carter.
Carter's a lovely dude.
He made me the video you me. He had me come read a music, fucking paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were in it.
Yeah.
And on one day I'm looking, I'm like, holy fuck. It's coming up. It's popping up everywhere.
A lot of videos like that. Trust me, bro. For real. I just made it like a point for a little bit to just Easter egg myself.
See the dude in the fucking background.
You know what I mean?
I'm actually quite the opposite.
Yeah. I've seen you, Jay and what's it called? Jay and
Oh yeah, the Jack.
yeah, I've seen you, Jay
and the silent DENNO. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually because of my profession as a school teacher, I kind of try to stay out of, which as you were saying before, like you haven't heard me talk to many people about this stuff.
Yeah.
It's because I don't want to incriminate myself, or not that I've done anything fucking stupid, but
Yeah.
you know, there are some stories and stuff like that.
But it's wild. But when you mentioned that point, which we were talking about the other night off camera, you were saying how it's a weird thing because obviously you don't want to say anything, what's it called, to, you know what I mean, to mix the professions and stuff with your other profession. But it's wild when you're obviously, because for everyone that doesn't know at home, your other profession is a school teacher, right? And it's as you're saying, and it kind of hit me really as well when you said it to me the other day, how you sort of, that's why you keep quiet, but then it's weird when these kind of students and these kids are walking in with Ice Cube t-shirts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you were working with the dude. Do you know what I mean?
Kids getting kicked out of class non-stop, and everyone's scratching their heads going, how do we work with this kid?
Yeah.
And I see him rocking up every day to school with an Ice Cube shirt. I'm like, I know how to work with it.
Yeah.
But you try and, but again, it's the stigma of it. And, you know, I've got a family, I've got a balanced profession and hobby.
Of course. Yeah.
And, you know, we actually tried to open up our own school a few years back. You know, back probably about 8 years ago.
Wow, true.
It was called Tough Breaks College. We had a whole prospectus written. It was to get disengaged youth to come down and do like intervention programs with some serious mentoring.
Sick, man.
You don't have to be a rapper. You can come and be a part of the team that makes film clips. You can come and be part of the promotion team, whatever.
Yeah.
All we wanted was a place to do it. I even said, me and another mate with a studio, we said, we'll take all our stuff down there. We'll set it up. Just give us a place to do it. And it got into the hands of like the Minister of Education. Everyone's all for it. This is a great idea. But then when it comes time to open your wallet and give some money out, and everything was quiet. And you look at some of the, I see the programs that get run in school and they're fucking, I respect what I'm doing, but a lot of them are just fucking rubbish.
Yeah.
So I'll feel good, high five shit.
Is that because of the budgets that they're being given, or is it just because of, obviously you said respecting it, but is because those people are just not putting in these?
They've got the best intentions in the world.
Yeah.
There's some great programs out there, but just the intentions and skill set don't always match up.
Of course, yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely.
And me, with 20 years experience teaching and my background in music, I absolutely know what we can do with it.
Yeah, you know music and you know how to teach, so you're obviously going to know how to teach music. You know?
Mate, I've had like kids who are getting kicked out of class. I could basically pick them a mile away. I'm like, that kid listens to hip hop. I know he does.
Yeah.
There's been a few who'll take them aside and just have a chat. Like, hey, what are you listening to? Like, you see them with like their AirPods in, walking around school. Like, what are you listening to? And I'll tell you some, you know, either it's some gangster shit or whatever it is, and you have a chat about them. And there's a few kids who know what I do, and there's a few kids who
Have you ever recorded a student? Because obviously
I've recorded ex-students.
Yeah. Oh, you ex-students. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there'd be something in place that you wouldn't be able to actually. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't think it's it. It wouldn't be a conflict of interest for me to offer a recording session to the student at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, with parental consent and all that sort of stuff, that I don't see that as conflict of interest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take money off them for it.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just think we're
off the school.
yeah, just like
Yeah.
Got a vessel going over here.
just catch me in the canteen line, man.
Not to go off topic at all. don't let me go off topic here, but did you see that teacher in, I think it was Sydney or Queensland, who was having kids punch on in running a fight club in her classroom? Yeah, bro. Her 3 rules were no films, no yelling, and what's it called, like no filming, no yelling, and 30 seconds each. You get in the little circle, bro. But yeah, no, sorry, continue.
God.
Yeah, bro.
What I'm pretty sure that was a
That's
movie.
wifey right there, bro. That's like a wifey right there, for real. But yeah, no, knew I shouldn't have said that. I've lost my train.
No, it does come back to what I was saying before, though. Like,
Yeah,
hip hop being demonized and the power of self expression and the power and the role that hip hop plays in mental health and stuff like that. Why aren't we taking advantage of this?
yeah.
And I speak of this with a somber tone because I lost a mate overnight who I'd been, we weren't best of mates, but I'd been recording him pretty heavily and mixed and mastering his work. And it's not the first time that I've lost people that I've been working with, and you reflect back on the lyrics that they've said and the stuff that they've said, and it's hindsight's 20/20 and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But it raises the question, like, are people drawn to hip hop because they need that self expression? If that's the fucking case, why aren't we taking advantage of this? Like, why aren't we going? This is like, don't tell me the poetry's in the year 8 curriculum, but you can't take hip hop, like a poetry where kids are like, I don't want to fucking know this shit.
Yeah.
Like, well, give them a beat. Why can't I take hip hop into the curriculum and be like, well, this is your word, this is your chance?
It's
Because
extremely out there.
I tell you what I'd rather do. I'd rather have that in a school, and I'd rather fucking initiate that than have this has happened like in the last couple of years, have me do final mixes and masters on deceased 18-year-old kids' work to send through to their family so they can play it at his funeral. And this is like reactivity versus proactivity. We can all look back on someone and be like, well, hip hop was a voice for that kid, and we think that he had that voice when he had a chance. Well, what the fuck is that? Like, give them the platform early. Let them know that this is a thing.
Yeah, man.
Let them know this is a tool.
It's a huge thing, bro, because even that's the whole reason why I started making music, because I wasn't a very good person at speaking my problems. So I was able to speak them through this, but it would still, do you know what I mean? Back then, especially with the music I was making back then, I'd, go and show people and whatnot, and that'd be my way of like, okay, this is what I'm going through. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, we've given them the voice where they're venting their problems, but we still need to listen. You know what I mean, bro? It's kind of like, and not to go off. It's not really off topic.
No.
So you got Juice WRLD. You know what I mean?
Yep.
An amazing talent, a big inspiration to me as well. Unfortunately, tragically died from an overdose. You know what I mean? But in every single song on his posthumous album, he's talking about the fact how he knows he's going to die from an overdose soon. These drugs are a problem. I'm calling out for help. Do you know what I mean? Not a single person, and that's obviously someone on a much higher level. But it's like, we're giving these people these voices. We need to listen. You know what I mean, bro? And obviously, I did see your post this morning as well. It's like you do, obviously, you being the engineer of the situation as well.
I've got people telling me some heavy shit sometimes, man.
Yeah, of course. But it's like, do you ever need to ever feel the need to sort of set some sort of a boundary there at all? To
I try to be. It depends on who it is, man. Like, if one of my best mates comes through and does some super depressing shit, then I'm going to ask them if they're all right. But I try not to cross boundaries with people, and what a fucking double-edged sword. Like, I don't want to cross boundaries with people, but I also don't want to be in this position again where I'm reflecting on someone's passing and thinking, fuck, did I not see some signs? And me being one of the older dudes in the scene, I feel like I play a valuable role as that rap dad. So many people call me rap dad these days.
I call you that, bro. I can't.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
right now. You know what I mean, bro?
Yeah. Where does that, where does my kind of responsibility, I guess, come into that as well as a mentor? And that, I try not to intrude on people's lives. And you know what? Sometimes, man, I'm not even hearing what you're saying. So I'm just in that world of audio. I'm mixing it and mastering it, whatever. I'm not actually, I've kind of distanced myself from it for a number of reasons, because sometimes dudes are saying some filthy shit that I don't want to be a part of. Yeah. Sometimes dudes are saying some political shit that I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Sometimes dudes are telling a story that is not them. So I don't want to be that dude. So, if someone comes in, it's like we say before, and does a song about them fucking going out and murdering people or doing whatever, I'm not going to be like, sorry, man, do I need to call the cops?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah,
like where is this poetic license and artistic license coming from? And
yeah.
I don't want to. I can't cross too many boundaries.
Of course, because even as you said, it's like a certain part of it falls under entertainment. So if you're sort of saying that to someone and they're only doing it for
I know plenty of people who do that. I know people who use mental health as a tool to sell records.
Yeah,
Where they have no fucking business doing that.
yeah.
And I think that's fucking repulsive.
Putrid. Yeah,
But-
man.
And I think it's repulsive because of people that have passed, because that sort of shit casts a shadow on people that fucking genuinely needed help and were using this platform, and the rest of us took it with a grain of salt because we've heard your mental health drugs.
Yeah, man.
It's like it's a rite of passage in hip hop. If and I've got to do a track about mental health, regardless of who I am, what I've been through.
But do you know what's weird though? It's like that's such a not a weird thing, but a different thing, because as you know, man, like hip hop, like you know what I mean, the whole mental health thing, it was a stigma around it. Do you know what I mean? It was never like accepted as it was today and stuff. You couldn't get on record and say how you were feeling, because even just as a dude in those times talking about, not even just on the mic, talking about how you were feeling in that way wasn't something
done.
Do you know? Yeah, do you know what I mean? It was stiffing that upper lip. You know what I mean? Type of time, but. So that even that, it's like, as you said, taking it with a grain of salt is still like I don't even know how to put it properly, but
it's disrespectful to people who actually are using that platform.
Yeah.
And I mean, who the fuck am I to tell people what you can and can't say? Like, you go and rap about whatever the fuck you want about. Your struggles, my struggles, everyone's struggles are unique to them. Yours are more important than mine. Like that's your mindset will be. Mine will always be my struggles are more important than yours.
Yeah.
Like this is the egocentric world we live in, and that's all fucking well and good. And I'm not trying to say people don't do a track about mental health unless you fucking really mean it. But
It's really,
you got to be you better be real depressed. Yeah, we're going back to fucking country music in a second. But like, I don't know, man. I just feel like that someone's got to draw a line in the sand about young men speaking up, and it is that taboo fucking nature of young men not knowing how to speak up. And how do we get Andrew Tate on this shit? But masculinity needs to be redressed in any number of different ways, and hip hop's a perfect, powerful platform to do that.
I think hip hop addresses the right parts of masculinity that need to be readdressed. You know what I mean?
I think it can address just about every corner, and this is not to take away from any female artists in the scene. Like, do your thing, but let's face it, it's a fucking sausage fest for the best part of hip hop.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is powerful.
And we want to shine a light on female rappers as well. You know what I mean?
100%.
But even we've been having the problem of just finding one. Do you know what I mean, bro? Like, because
I know,
it's a sausage fest, bro. There's not that many female rappers out there. So even trying to like, what's it called? Sort of have one on to sort of, you know what I mean, to listen to their story and stuff like that, because it's not that it should be an indifferent thing anyway, but because there is just a male predominant industry.
I'm willing to bet you'd get a completely different sort of perspective on what the hip hop
on
scene
hip hop, which is what we want. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like, how do you even change that? How do we bring more female rappers into the scene? How do we have more female artists, more female DJs? You know what I mean, man? Like,
I think there's more females in general probably listening to hip hop and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So that definitely helps, because previously there wasn't really too much of a market for it. Probably even like Lauryn Hill and stuff. Obviously they've got large female fan bases, but there's also a lot of guys listening to their stuff as well. But now you've also got like female rappers that are kind of like, they're just making music for the girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that other.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
That's how hip hop's changing. It's like it's so diverse now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even I say how do we sort of do that, because it's what's called, I'm being biased to the Australian scene, but if you look over in America,
it's
it's
changing.
bigger than ever. You got Ice Spice, you got Coi Leray, you got Doja Cat. You got the girls are running the industry over there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So
Even in Australia.
There's some great artists coming out of Australia.
Yeah, man, we got Kobe Spice.
Yeah, my point is from the actual main people that that are getting the main publicity and stuff like that, it is more predominant by males still. Do you know what I mean? And that's how it is over here.
Come to a gig at Laundry Bar on a Friday night, and it's going to be predominantly males in the audience.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. That's no sly on the Laundry Bar at all. Like, they're all fucking great through there, but that's hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember like going from like an MC DJ scenario to working with like a hip hop band and just doing improv nights. And I was kind of blown away. Like I got out there and it's like, there's chicks dancing. Like actually, there are women dancing in the crowd. Like, what the fuck is this? And this is after 10 years of, I would have had 400 gigs in the last 10 years where I didn't see any women dancing in the crowd. And all of a sudden you take one tiny step, you're still in the boundaries of hip hop, but you take one tiny step away from it. And there's like all these women that want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe we are shaking that kind of male machismo stigma behind it all.
I'm about it, bro.
It's
About it. It's been a sausage fest too long, bro. I need to bring some shorties up in here.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, bro. Because I wanted to touch on who you're working with, mainly at the moment, man. Like, in terms of recording with, and what projects you got going on with any artists that you're allowed to speak on, and
There's always something going on, man. Oh God, where do you start? There's a lot of people who record with me. They've all got their own things happening. I had Damien Illick through last night. Dimmy, Dimmy's always got some good shit happening. He really does, man. So he's probably the one I've been working with the most in recent times. And I'm super excited about those sessions. They're always interesting, and we've got just fucking. There's 20 unreleased tracks just sitting on my hard drive that some of them will never come out. They were written at a time that it made sense to release it.
Yeah.
You know, he had some pretty strong COVID opinions and shit like that.
Oh, word, yeah. He's a very strong opinionated dude.
He is, yeah. And he puts things in a way that's kind of entertaining. It's not just
a comedic spin on everything. You know, he's a funny bastard. Yeah.
He was actually the one I had to pull up last night when he said a bar. I'm like, can you actually say that? I said, it happened a couple of times. I'm like, how many minorities are you going to piss off before the end of this song? Yeah. It's like, and he was like, generally like, I don't know, can I say that? And I'm like,
What's that? Yeah.
Beep it out if you have to. He's like, he had this line. It was like something about dropping the Hiroshima bomb on the Japs. And I'm just like, bro, is Japs like a slur? Like, is that all right? So we actually had this full 20-minute conversation about, is this okay? Can we do it? And we actually went with the disarm approach, keep the bar in there, but we actually had an interlude of me going, is that okay? And he's like, I don't know, is it? I'm like, is that not a racial slur? He's like, fuck if I know. I was like, banging the next verse. So we kind of try to disarm it as we're going through. But look, he's one of my best mates. He's great to work with. While I don't record Mr. Ruckman, he's got his own setup going. I've always been working closely with him as well.
Was Ruckman the one that you did the Jay and Silent DENNO with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go check that out, by the way.
I'm not even sure if it's still up. He takes his videos up and down all the time, man.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
He's an extremely talented dude. I've been fortunate to DJ for him for the last, 8 years or something. Yeah, I did like the Ocean Wisdom Tour and stuff, Atmosphere. Did all that sort of stuff with him. He's a genius and a great artist. So maybe doing a surprise show with him.
Nice.
Maybe at Manners album launch that's coming.
Oh shit, when's that?
19th of May.
Oh shit, hell yeah! This would definitely be out by that point, 100%.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I guess that's not a secret show anymore. So doing that, and Dimmy's on that bill as well. So
sick, man.
Yeah, there's always stuff going on, man. I love being able to be involved in the musical vision of whoever the fuck it is. Like,
yeah,
you know, I don't care if it's your first rap or you're a veteran. Like, it's just fun to be a part of that process, and
100%.
I love seeing
a community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
Touching on that, is it different? I've seen Nate sent me through some artists you've worked with. I see Mad Child, Mercules.
Yeah.
Then you got Method Man, Ice Cube, and then you got Wombat. Is there a difference between Australia, Canadian, US?
Man, look, at the end of the day, you're all humans. You know, like, backstage is always backstage. It's always a laugh. Some artists, like, I guess the bigger they are, the further away they stay from support acts and stuff like that. So, like, Ice Cube wasn't exactly out high-fiving everyone, whereas Dub C was, for example.
I had really good things about. I think it was it with Xander you did the tech?
Yeah.
Zen had really good things to say about Tech that time.
Tech 9 is a fucking gentleman.
Yeah.
Him and Slug from Atmosphere. I rate Slug as one of the best rappers to have ever touched a mic. Those two were just fucking lovely. Went out of their way. Thanked us for being a part of their show. Like,
That's why I like Complete so much. He's so humble. I've gone to every one of his shows. He's just such a humble.
yeah, so I've done most of Complete's shows.
Oh, really?
Until the recent one where he had Uncle Sam. I did most of his shows.
Did I? You were there, so you would have seen it. Did I tell you what I think you were at the Complete show as well. Where was it the Shadow gig that I had to be with you and Smoker in Smokers out at Laundry, the most recent?
Yeah, that was the gig I was running. Was I there? I fucking.
No, was that Complete? I'm trying to think what gig that was. Was that?
That was the bushfire benefit. No, that was the flood benefit.
I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking. This is like a year ago when I had to be with you in Smokers and stuff.
Yeah, that was the flood benefit, wasn't it?
No, the flood benefit was like before COVID.
You're thinking, no, that was the bushfire benefit.
Maybe it was the flood benefit.
It was the flood benefit because we flew Shadow out here for it.
I think you're right. My bad. I'm
absolutely. Where's the fucking thing? This motherfucker.
But the show I'm talking about though is the shit fucking what? Oh, the Complete, because he said that Complete come out and was being humble and real nice and everything and shit, bro. I got a fucking hilarious story to tell about that. We got about 10-15 minutes left. So yeah, bro. Like it was a Complete show, right? And we're playing it with Gypsy. I was playing with him. I mean, he was opening it and shit. You're fine, bro. DJ.
You can't move.
After the next 20 minutes, oh no, there's still like shrinking with no voice, bro. Like you ain't eating about that. But nah, yeah. So we're doing the show with him. And oh, bro, I've been a fan of Complete for a long time, bro.
Yeah, he's great.
Honest. And I was really keen to meet the dude, bro. Like I was really keen to meet him. Do you know what story I'm going?
I can say this.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in Smokers and Nate comes in a bit late. He's like, "Oh my god, that's Complete." I'm like, "That's not Complete. What are you talking about?" And we were in Smokers. There was some bloke, and it was just and it was just we didn't even can't even look.
Bro, I walked right up to him. I could not even. It's worse than that, bro. Because I walked up to him. I'm like, "That's Complete. Come say hello with me. Come say hello." He's like, "Bro, I'm pretty sure that's not Complete." I'm like, "No, it is. He's wearing the Complete shit, and it looks like it had to be his old man or something, bro. It looks like Complete." And he was with a bunch of people with Complete merch on and shit, and the public doors hadn't opened yet. So I'm like, "That's complete. That's Complete." I walked up to him like, "Complete." Big fan, man, massive fan. Bro, like an hour later, I see these two dudes standing next to it, Complete, and the dude that I dapped up standing next to each other. I'm like, oh, no. But the guy went along with it. The motherfucker went along with it, bro. He's like, "Thank you, bro. I appreciate you." I'm like, well, you're not even Complete. Why did you?
Bro, I got a couple of stories on that exact line.
Yeah.
When we were touring a lot with Buck, being an African-American, we had a show lined up with De La Soul.
Yeah.
They hadn't rocked up yet, so he just walked around going, "Yeah, I'm from De La Soul. Where's my free food? Where's this, where's that?" And this dude comes up to us, and they're like thinking that he was from De La Soul. And he comes up to me, and goes, "How do you like Australia, mate? Like, you enjoying it so far?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right, mate. Like, don't mind it." And he's just kind of like, didn't even switch that I've just sounded the most bogus he's ever encountered in his life. He's like, "Oh yeah, sick, bro," and he's kind of walked off. And I had a similar thing just recently. Did a tour with Onyx, and I was DJing for Onyx each night. And I wasn't supposed to be. They're supposed to have DJ Legal from the Snow Goons.
Oh, yep.
And for some reason, whatever it was, he couldn't make it out. And I did a couple of shows in Melbourne, then a show in Adelaide with Onyx. And at the end of the Adelaide show, this dude's off his head, and he's like, "All these people just standing around, none of them even know who you are, mate." And I'm like, "No, probably not, man." Thinking that like they don't know. I'm like, why the fuck would they? Mate? Like, he goes, "No, I didn't even know you." And he's like, "Snow Goons represent." And I'm like, "Holy fuck, this cunt thinks I'm like DJ Legal." And I didn't want to get in a conversation about it. It was just I didn't want to like
Ruin his night.
Yeah.
You do it like a butter, bro.
I didn't want him to go home and be like, "I made a fucking." I did want him to feel like you feel right now. Look, at that time I made a ticket of myself with Complete. Well, he's walking around going, "I met DJ Legal."
I would have gone around being off. I met Complete, but I fucking saw them standing next to each other. Bro, he didn't even ruin it for me. He went along with it. He's like, "Bro, thank you. I appreciate you." This, that. I went to leave. I was like, "Go say hi to him, bro." He's like, "Bro, it's not Complete." It's not Complete, bro. And I'm like, "No, I've just met Complete, lad. You don't even know."
He probably does this every show, bro. Just knocks up before Complete gets in. Just signs an autograph. All Complete birds, gets the boys around. "Yeah, what's up? Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate you, dog."
And that's an old man or some kind of relative, bro. Because it looked exactly fucking like him. Like, you can vouch me on that at least, bro. Like, once I saw them side by side, bro. I was like, okay, they look nothing alike.
Yeah.
You know what I do? But like, I further glance without complete. I'm like, no, you're complete. You're complete. Yeah. How much for a feature, bro? Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
He's a lovely dude though, complete. I've had him in the studio in the past. We recorded some stuff at my joint with him. Just a really nice dude. We actually did 2 of the Mercules tours with him.
Yeah.
So Merc's a lovely dude as well. So yeah.
Fire, bro. Oh, him, Mad Child, you know, I've listened to them for years, you know.
What's your favorite Mad Child song, Liam?
Jackal.
It's probably the one that Mad Child featured on my album, probably.
Which one?
I don't even know the name of my own fucking tracks, mate, but it's featuring Mad Child.
I don't even know the one. Like, oh, it's my track. It's track the breath, and I have no idea.
It's track 1. It's got Luke Bex. It's got Jack Wall. It's got Mad Child on it.
Bro, imagine Michael Jackson made the Thriller album, and you're like, which album? You're like, I can't actually remember it at this fucking point.
The thing is, like, the name is like the last step in the process.
That's so true.
It's like it's been called New Beat, It's Not So Shit, Draft 65 A3 1249 for the last 10 years. And then someone's like, we've got a name. It's like, that is its name.
Yeah. Bro, even like your beats on your SoundCloud, I've seen some of them titled like Feb 18th, 2017. Like
I've got it. It's the only way I can find that project. So if someone goes, oh, I want that instrumental, there's like 450 on the SoundCloud. Yeah. And they go, oh, February 18 guitars.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go back and look for February 18 guitars. And you know what else it does?
Saving in your calendar type of thing.
Yeah, basically. But you know what else it does, man? It means I don't make too many guitar-driven beats in February 2018, which is actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
So if I know I'm on, January 23, pianos number 3, it's probably time I put the fucking piano down and picked up the kazoo or the xylophone or set the bagpipes or some shit.
No, because I can really put you walking into your studio, bro.
It's a bagpipes.
In an Irish kilt.
I'm here for it.
What's going on now?
I'm here for it. There's nothing under the kilt either.
Just the kilt, bro. Full breeze. All
yeah.
Freedom.
Goose reveal. Let's come back.
I didn't get this fucking trophy for no reason. 100%. Is there anything else that we need to touch on? I think we got any time left. How much time we got left? Oh, okay. Yeah, we might have to end it here if that's all right. But
No, bro, it's been a pleasure, mate.
yeah, no, bro. Thank you so much.
Anytime, bro. Anytime.
Stuff could get you on so early in the start of the podcast as well, bro. And that's
Appreciate you all.
so
It's also been an honor, bro.
Thanks so much, man.
legend, bro.
Thank you all.
Yeah, so I want to start that again. I just need to do an outro. Give you a second. Thank you guys so much for watching Culture Show, episode 4, I think we're up to now. Yeah, episode 4. Shout out DENNO. Fuck, I fucked up the intro, bro. I give you one more time to do this. I feel like fucking we're doing TikTok content. 100%. Yeah, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching episode 4 of The Culture Show. It has been your boy, Nate Six, Liam, LB or Liam. Fuck, everyone's got different names.
Call me Liam, bro, whatever.
All right, here we go again. Brendan, I'm so sorry you got to deal with this, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching The Culture Show. It's been Nate Six, it's been Liam, it's been Donnie Green, it's been DENNO. We will see you next time. Take it easy, fam. Peace. Perfect. Eva, thanks, Jeff. Oh, shit. Now we can wear, oh, man, that's all it's fucking on.
Yeah, that's waiting to go do some sleep early.
Bro,
Yeah, that was a killer podcast, man. Thank you so much.
I'm taking a minute.